went underneath to slide under the catch. Decided to mess around with this opening under here, and yeah, just released a bit of rust. I got the same thing on the other side, so I'll have to wire brush it, clean it all up, and then weld in some reasonable sized patches. I knew from the inside, you can see the light shining through, that I had some rust in this bottom corner. And so I removed the inner fender well, and that whole area all in there was just filled with leaves and dirt. So even though there's supposed to be a kind of pointing there, sorry, a drain hole, any leaves that come in up at the top will come down this cavity through here and then just sit there. And it just takes a couple leaves to block that, and all of a sudden you've got some rust. So let's look at it from underneath. This is all that I knocked out and wire brushed out of that area. Okay, you can see that hole, and fender out in here is still all there, surprisingly, and that's where that was sitting. So they must have galvanized the inside of that, but all of this rocker structure through here is rotted out, and some up in here. So what I'm going to do is create a patch that will fill in here, and also have a stretch, a tab folded over here that I can then kind of weld this whole stack back together. And then I also will need to deal with a patch back in here to close this all out. And so there's a part of me that's thinking, do I put the patch on the inside or the outside? I think the outside. And I'm also going to coat everything inside of here. You can see all, as far as I can reach up in there, will get coated with Pour 15. So let's move on to coating, cleaning, some more coating, and then making the patches. This is the other side. What I did was I pulled back the fender so I'd have better access to all of this. Just was a couple, actually in this case, a single bolt, and then just pried it back at the top. This fender's getting replaced. I've got a new one, new to me at least, that I pulled off of another Mazda in the pick and pull. As you can see, there's quite a bit missing on this side as well. I'll rebuild this tab across here and then do another patch from the back side and tie them both together. This side here will all get coated. I don't think it goes as far back in here as it did on the other side, but like I said, we'll rebuild this tab across here and then come back there with a patch, and then we'll patch this as well. So first thing is to coat and finish cleaning up inside there. Well, the patch has been cut to fit up in there. I got better light on the other side, so I'll show you on the other side. I've got two pieces for this side. One of them's going to go in here, and the other one's going to come in from the back side. And I've got holes so I can do some plug welds through, and then do some lap welds around the outside here. I'm leaving this open just as a drain, and that falls right in this area of the fender, so it will leave an opening that water can drain out. So on to the welding. So the patching's done. It's welded in. It's been primed as primer's dried. Then I went through and sealed it with silicone. Then I can paint over top of all of that. Basically the same thing on the other side. We need to deal with that. So I'm going to try to get this hosing, cabling as much out of the way as possible. And that should give me access to wire brush the heck out of that and then coat it inside and out. I really can't see. I guess it's kind of buried up behind the spring. So most of the access will be from this side, and we'll try to get in there and coat as good as possible. So I decided to get to the back side. In order to do that, the strut assembly had to come out, so as not to have to disconnect the brake hose or take the calipers off or any of that, I just spun it around so it's now safely resting upside down. But I've cleaned this area out, and I'll keep going back into that corner. My plan will be to just weld in with spot welds a plate in that area, and then get another plate. There we go, another plate going up against the backside there. And the only thing that mounts in that area is that power steering, so I can just drill a new hole to stick that in. So let's get the weld through primer out now that it's up to 50 in here. Now I just realized that I did not remember to first drill the holes to do plug welds with, like I did here in this one. Too much of a hurry. Oh well. We'll come back and put them in after the primer is dry. So it's on to patching. We will patch those holes and down in the bottom, and then we'll tap this up tight against the rest of the strut tower and tack that in. And then we have the other patch here ready to go on the outside. So let's do some welding. Now, this seems to be a recurring theme with my welding. It's not pretty, but it's done, it's functional. Everything seems to be in there nice and snug, solid. And then on the back side, I've got that. They both have been primed with a clear primer, so that's what I had handy. So when that's done, we'll hit it with some rattle can red. So we've got painted up in there, the strut reinstalled with the mounting plate for the strut brace. And when that paint is dry, we'll reattach. There's a hose bracket fitting, whatever, that will screw into there, and I'll have to drill another hole probably.